Every princess needs a crown. Get ready to feel like a princess yourself today. I'm Katie Hacker, and this is Gay Isbert with this fabulous idea for how to make your own beautiful crown.
I know for years I've been making crowns. They call me the queen of crowns. But I started off using wire. And then I kind of found clays. And I thought, maybe I could take it up to the next level. So today we're making crowns, and this is actually from your hardware store. It's just sheet metal for like if you're tin for your roof. At my store, it's on the bottom shelf, and I know I have to like dig for it, but it's there, big, huge, nice roll.
So you're looking for something that's long and lightweight.
Yeah, long and lightweight. So it definitely gives me, where I could make a couple of crowns out of each piece. So it's very economical. It's like $10 for a roll, so it's not an expensive thing. And then I start off by just making a bit of a paper template by measuring my head, or the person's head that I'm making the crown for, the imaginary person or a client. And it's also about, it's not more like a baseball cap. It's more like the crown of your head. It's at an angle. So when you're measuring, try to really take that in mind so that
Okay, so you're not taking a measurement from your forehead.
Yeah, it looks better if the crown is up a little bit more. So then I take my paper and I just draw it onto the metal. And I use just an old pair of scissors. Now I brought tin snips just to say, this is really the proper way to probably do tin, but because of that curve, it's really good for if you had kind of a curvy crown, but the cheap old scissors work just as well.
Right.
It's not hard at all.
Okay.
So that's how I get started. And then before I do anything else, I also drill 2 holes in each. I'm going to show how we're going to close this in a minute. But before I close it, I kind of like to start laying out my pattern. So I kind of would go, we're going to have a little something pretty there. And I like to go up above just a little bit on the edge. It protects the crown. It gives it a little bit more oomph. So you kind of have to take that in mind also when you're measuring. I wanted this to be a bridal crown, so I wanted like a veil to be in the back. So I definitely tapered it to the back. So,
and you don't have to worry about this being sharp because you're basically covering those edges.
You're covering the edges. So then I would lay everything out exactly how I want it. Either with the paper and then draw it around, or just take a picture on your phone, and then you have kind of like, you don't have to remember so much. You can
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you can use that as your visual. So once I've done all my laying out, and these are just cabochons, these were actually pins that I've just snipped the backs off. So
that's a good idea.
They're available online, and they're economical, and they have a lot of sparkle. So one thing about bridal things is that pearls really photograph the best, but we know that sparkle is what's visible.
Right.
So we want a good combination if you're doing a bridal crown to have lots of pearl, lots of silver, if that's your theme. Gold, and the pearls, cabochons make it easier, so you don't have to put very much clay on there. It does keep it a little bit lighter. If I was doing a crown, say like with the coral, which is a little bit thicker, I would use a little bit more clay. So I'm just doing a demonstration here, but 2 equal sizes. If you're really like new to this and you're like a little timid, if you had to measure, like like for mailing or for food, you could measure and make sure the weights are the same.
Put it on a little scale.
Yeah, put it on a little scale. Mm-hmm. But mostly you can just eyeball it. So I can see I've got a little bit too much B, so I'm just going to smooth it back out again. And now my sizes are pretty similar. And then I'm just going to work them together. Now, I kind of pancake it down and kind of give it a roll, but a really good way to mix it is also just to snake it, because it gets all the way through. Fold it over, snake it some more, so that by the time that you've done all of your mixing and snaking, that you don't see any of the white stripes, kind of the lighter, which is the chemical part of it, the B part, into your clay. And then it becomes this beautiful, kind of shiny, beautiful, all one color piece. And that's going to go on there. But let me show you, first of all, how we attach the back of the crown. Now, I really think about when I'm doing this, about how to keep the interior as neat as possible.
Because that's the part that's going to be touching your head.
Yeah, it is. And it's also the part that you really can't hide very many imperfections. So I try really hard to keep everything clean.
Now,
now,
I'm noticing that you're wearing gloves while you're working.
Yes, when I'm mixing with this.
Okay.
So I definitely, and I can take my gloves off now. I definitely, when you're mixing mixing chemicals at any level, you should wear gloves, and then also wash your hands afterwards.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do is take a little piece of, this is a 20 gauge wire. I'm using silver because the silver is the 10 color. If I was going to paint this gold, I could use a gold wire. And I know that on the inside is where it's going to be seen because it's not going to be covered. So I just do a little bit of, it's like making a staple, right?
Right. You're just kind of tying them together there.
I'm just tying them together. And then I'm going to add a little bit of packing tape to the final part. This just takes a second. And then the tape will just kind of hold the rest of the edge down so that it doesn't pop up when you're trying to put clay over it and then you end up with it. I've kind of done it all. I'm like, oh, how did I not do that? That's how we learn. So I've made a lot of crowns, but see how that would kind of pop up?
Right.
So we're going to hold that down with a little piece of tape, and then it will be covered over. So here's what I've done. I've just threaded it through.
It really is like a staple.
It really is like a staple. And then we're just gonna go like that. We just do it a little roll and a little flatten.
Oh, okay, just spiral it down.
Yeah, just spiral it down, and that's gonna be exactly what you need. Now, then you would take a little piece of tape, and this is just strong, clear tape.
Okay.
I don't think a paper tape would work very well. I think you definitely need to have a little bit of some oomph. This tape is really strong, and I use it for a lot of different things in my studio. Let me get it started. Just need a tiny little piece.
Okay.
And it's going to finish this off. Just like that.
So that'll just hold it down.
Just
and
like
then you're
that.
going to cover this whole thing eventually.
Yes,
like
it'll
if we
all
look
be
at the
done.
back here, we'll see.
So here's our little crown. So I've done my little knots, and I've done my tape, and then I have my clay, and this is the exciting part. So we don't want to put it on thick.
Okay.
So kind of making your snakes kind of help you determine how thick this is going to be. So,
and you could use any color of epoxy clay that you want.
Yes. In fact, if you were going to do a gold crown, you might want to do yellow underneath there, and that would really give it a really gold richness. Most of these I've done with bronze because I kind of like that aged kind of a look.
So you actually press it right onto the metal. You don't press it out first.
Press it right onto the metal. I'm going to do a section here in the middle, and I'm going just to the very top. I'm not going over. I would make sure that the back of the crown is as clean as possible because I don't want to have any kind of leftover kind of like little flaws in the back of the crown. We want it to be as pretty on the front and also on the back. Okay, so here we go. So now this clay, I'm just taking and kind of smushing it. You can actually take your hand and kind of go like that.
So you're just creating a surface, and you can do sections all along the crown, right?
Yes, except for when you're doing the silver leaf, it needs to be on the wet clay. So if you're going to do a section, follow it all the way to the end. Don't just think, oh, I can wait and do that later. No.
So how long do you have to work with this?
You have quite a while. I would say it depends kind of on the heat, but you definitely have a couple of hours. I wouldn't do it more than an hour. The less you work with this, kind of the better. But see, look, it's already getting a nice glossiness right here.
And this is actually the glue.
Yes, it's the glue, and it's going to hold everything into place very well. You want to try some? You want to try pressing some in?
Sure.
And kind of go around the edge, maybe with these pins.
So I'm just making sure that I'm covering up here. There's a little bit of edge
it's
showing,
okay.
but not a lot?
It's okay because I also have some mica powder, so anywhere that I think, oh, I really should have put the gold leaf, maybe the silver leaf doesn't go. Yeah, keep going, yeah. When the silver leaf doesn't quite go all the way through the pins, like for example for this, you could, I kind of like to change it, have them a little bit smaller as they go.
Do you normally work along one edge and then fill in the middle?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think I would have my pattern already kind of made out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we'll just kind of start and we'll kind of fill in the middle. How's that? I'll let you kind of press.
Sure.
And then I have some
You don't
large.
have to press very hard. You can tell it's
No,
attached.
and I've kept it really thin so it will keep the weight down. So then we'll just, a nice big sparkle right in the middle.
Definitely.
And we know that sparkles are an important part of making us feel good. Now, you don't have to wear this as a bride. You can wear this as you're vacuuming.
I love that idea.
Yeah, sisterhood parties, birthday parties, princess parties. Really, when do you not need a crown?
Any kind of gathering, really.
And wouldn't it be fun to host a party where you're actually, everybody sits around and makes a crown? Come to my house and we can do that.
That would be fun. That's great. We'll bring some.
You always wanted to know what to do with these cabochons, and now you can kind of see
Yeah,
how
that's perfect. And this would be great for cosplay or anytime people are wanting to make their own costumes, Halloween.
I think that they are kind of ageless.
I agree.
So it's not just for little kids. I've made crowns for Kate Middleton. I made crowns for all different kinds of people. Now, let's just go, let me show you how the silver goes on so easy onto this clay. And this is a package of like 25 sheets. It's just silver foil. This isn't a very expensive product, but let me just show you how it just attaches perfectly. Now that is not going to come off. What I will do when I'm like finishing up is that I'll take a brush and also like a little wet wipe, and I will wipe off any bits and kind of use my brush to kind of get those little bits down into here, especially into here. And if I still feel like, oh, I really want this all to be silver too, where it's really hard to get into that filigree, is that you can use some kind of a mica powder that would also be able to go into those areas really smoothly. And also making sure that around the edge, that it's come down to the edge and you don't have a sharp edge on the bottom. Also, your head is not really round. So what you're trying to do is you kind of, I usually have like 2 containers of something that I kind of poke in here, and I kind of make sure that you get more of an oval shape.
Oh, okay, like a butter dish. Or
Yeah, something like that, just to kind of hold it in place. In 24 hours, it'll be totally done and ready to wear.
Right.
But do make sure that before you're done, see how my fingerprints are all here? That would stay. So I would take a wet wipe and I would wipe all of this down before it dries.
That is so amazing how that all came together so quickly. This would be so fun for a party.
It would be.
I want to take a look at some of these finished crowns. That red one with the coral is incredible.
Yeah, I made that just for you so that you could kind of understand how the depth and the beauty of, these are just old things that I had in my treasure box. And I thought it turned out really good, the red and the gold. I love that. And the one below is actually paper based, same metal, but I've just, I've decoupaged it onto inside and the outside of the crown, but it could be like really fun happy birthday paper. And then I've just used the same clay with the gold on top of it.
All right, well, let's talk real quick about the adjustable one, the pink one. It's made a little differently.
It is, because I do lots of editorial for magazines. I wanted something, because there's so many size heads, and I wanted something, so all I did was I drilled holes on the back, and then I put the wire through it.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here.